There's a few recruits in the 2024 class we're not talking enough about. One of them, I think, is the receiver, Ashton Bethel-Roman.
You are Locked On Aggies, your daily podcast on the Texas A&M Aggies. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome on into Locked On Aggies. I'm your host, Andrew Stefaniak. Thanks for making Locked On Aggies your first listen every single day. Today, we are going to talk about a few recruits who I just don't think we're talking about enough in the 2024 class. Some of them are already on campus. Some of them will be in here soon in a few months. And the first guy is four-star wide receiver Ashton Bethel-Roman. And, this is one of those kids that Coach Elko added late. He brought in a little bit late to the recruiting class. And, all four of these guys, are they going to have a role as freshmen? Still to be seen. It's not easy, as we discuss all the time here at Locked On Aggies. It is not easy to walk right into a SEC campus and start or play. Not easy to do. But I think we've been talking too much about Terry Bussey, which is deserved, but we're not talking enough about some of these other talented guys. There's a lot of talent in this class, and Bethel-Roman is one of those guys. I mean, you pull up the scouting report on him on 24/7 Sports, so they compare him to former Tennessee receiver, now with the Giants, Jalen Hyatt. High-level receiver prospect who's shown productivity to all levels with big play athleticism and underneath know-how. Lean athlete with a good length and broader shoulders for listed size. Easy long stride, generate sneaky top end speed that reflects track prowess. Smooth in movement patterns with an ease in motion. I mean, when you watch the tape on Bethel-Roman, those things are very clear. He's a smooth route runner, but he's also a track star. The dude is lightning fast. He's 6 foot, 170 pounds. I think he's close to 6'1", but 6 foot, 170 pounds. And, like the report said, he's a little bit, I think bigger than his height and weight give him credit for. But Bethel-Roman is a kid who I think is going to be a star at Texas A&M. Is it as a true freshman? Probably not, because it's hard to do. It's hard to do. Plus, Texas A&M has a plethora of talented receivers right now that, next year you're going to lose some of these guys. So I think looking at this, I like this kid in the future, not as a freshman. Now, I always say, if a freshman sneaks onto the field, kind of like what we saw with Terry York last year, if a freshman makes their way onto the field, there is a reason. They are on the field because they have stood out. They have stood out so much that, hey, we need to have this true freshman kid on the field more than this older guy. He's just been that good. So I think if Bethel-Roman's able to get on the field, that's going to be our thoughts here. But I don't see that happening. But track speed, crisp route runner, great hands. We are not talking enough about this kid, and I'm just telling you, this kid's going to be really, really good. The next guy I've got here who we're not talking about enough in this 2024 class for Texas A&M is Isendre Ahfua. I mean, I'm so excited about Ahfua. I think he is going to be a star, an interior offensive lineman star. They have him listed at 6'3", 294, and he just, you look at him, he looks bigger than that. He's massive. He's a massive human being that, if you could compare him to something, I think the closest thing would be a bulldozer. That's what he does. If there's something in his way, he pushes it over. Ahfua, we're going to talk about another offensive lineman who I think is going to be a great player down the road. But if I had to pick one offensive lineman right now, there's a whole bunch in this class I'm excited about, for future-wise. But if I had to buy stock in one, I think it'd be Ahfua. I think he's going to be an absolute monster. He was top 200 recruit in the class. I mean, just this dude. And once again, you watch the tape, he is just larger than everybody else, and he pushes people over. And, I do think he's got to get a little bit more technically sound. I do think sometimes offensive linemen like him, who have just always been bigger than everybody else, I think that sometimes they have to settle in to playing, college football and okay, the person across from me is just as big as me. I can't just, I'm going to push you over. There's none of that. You have to be able to have technique and have form and all that. So I think that there's a little bit of development when it comes to that. But Ahfua is the guy I'm buying stock in. I think he's going to be an NFL offensive lineman. I think he's going to be a star, and I can't wait to see what he does at Texas A&M. Another guy, I do think that he is probably one of the true freshmen that's going to be closer to ready to play early, but he's also not going to be here in the spring, and I think that helps recruits. I think being here in the spring helps, and so I think that's going to hurt him a little bit, but Ahfua is going to be a great player. My next guy is Blake Ivy, the offensive tackle. I mean, 6'3.5", probably closer to 6'4" around there. He's got long arms. It sounds like he's putting on some weight, but I mean, this dude is just a dog. He's strong. He's powerful. He's got those long arms, which is so important when you're playing offensive line. If you don't have long arms, you are not going to win a lot of battles, a lot of one-on-ones. Of course, Ivy ranked as the 104th best player in the 2024 class, 10th best tackle. And, this is a kid, same thing as Ahfua. I mean, buy stock in Blake Ivy. He is going to be a star. I think this kid's going to be an NFL player. But once again, does he get on the field as a freshman? It's just hard. It's not an easy thing to do, especially at offensive line. If the players on this roster, I would say the most likely to get on the field as a freshman is going to be BethelRoman, the receiver. Ahfua and Blake Ivy, it's going to be tough. The next player we're talking about is going to be tough. But no, Ivy is another offensive lineman who is going to be – I love all of the offensive linemen in this class. I think 2 years, 3 years down the road could be the starting offensive line for Texas A&M. That's how talented this group is. That's how great this class is. I think it's just, Ivy, Ahfua, Ashton Funk. I think all of these guys are going to be really good at Texas A&M during their career. The next guy I have is the edge rusher, Soloman Williams, another one of the guys that Coach Elko kind of went and got out of nowhere, it seems. When he got here, bringing in some Coach Elko I think that's an underrated thought here too. Looking back at this, it's like, man, some of these players that Coach Elko brought in at the tail end of this are really, really talented. Soloman Williams is a really good football player. I mean, listen to his numbers. He had 32 tackles for loss and 15.5 sacks a couple years ago in high school. I mean, those numbers aren't fair. That's not fair to the opposing team. I mean, what is the opposing team supposed to do? I feel bad. This kid is going to be great. They have him listed at – is he already enrolled? Let me find him. Yep. 6'3", 250 pounds. So, as an edge rusher, your weight can fluctuate between so many different things. There's no good or bad weight for an edge rusher. It's all technique. It's all speed. It's all that. So I think that's a weight where he can play early. But once again, does he get on the field as a freshman? You're not going to talk me into that. But so I still think of all three of these names, if one player was the most likely to play this season as a true freshman, it'd be Ashton Bethel-Roman, the 4-star receiver, just based on, I think the size is there, speed's there, and receiver, it's more natural and, technique and than these other positions. But I do think that Ahfua, Ivy, and Soloman Williams are all going to be incredibly, good football players and have great careers at Texas A&M, and I can't wait to see that play out. Let me know if there's a recruit other than Terry Bussey. Of course, this is guys we are not talking enough about. Terry Bussey, we're talking enough about, but give me a player in the recruiting class that you think maybe, hey, we're not talking enough about. Let me know that in the comments. I'd be curious to hear y'all's thoughts. Now we're going to talk about 4 transfers that I don't think we're talking enough about. We're going to have that conversation coming up right here on Locked On Aggies. But first, I want to tell you about our friends over at eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. What brings home the winning trophy is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and leveled up to peak performance, from superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride or die every time, or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit. Only available to U.S. customers. Ooh. I'm sorry about the voice today, ladies and gentlemen. I'm get a little cold going on, I think. Which got to go away because I got to leave for Nashville for the SC tournament. But now we're going to talk about 4 transfer portal players that I don't think we're talking enough about. We're talking plenty about some of the guys. We're talking plenty about Des Ricks and Will Lee and Nick Scorton. We've talked enough about some of those guys. But hey, there's other players in the transfer portal class that I think will play and have an impact. And my number one guy is Alex Howard. I've talked about him, I think, a little bit more than some of these other guys. I've talked about 2 of these guys a little bit, but I think that Alex Howard could start with York, and I think he could be really good. I think that, you talk about all underrated team, because I guess you could mix underrated and not talking about enough into the same category. But I think if you want to go all underrated team, Alex Howard should be on there. This kid can be a star at Texas A&M. And it's purely film based. It's purely it's not PFF or stats. It's purely watching the film. He has the intangible details you need to be a really good linebacker in the SEC, maybe in the NFL someday. He has everything you need. I didn't write down the size. Let me give you that. 6'2", 230. I mean, dude can be a thumper. Dude's quick. He's a player that can do it all. I mean, really, he has all of the different intangibles that it takes to be a star linebacker in the SEC. And I think he's going to be. And, you've got some other linebackers. You've got Scooby Williams. So it's like, which one of these guys kind of takes over? And I'd like Alex Howard. And I know Scooby Williams is the guy who has SEC experience. And I still think that you're going to see Alex Howard potentially win this job. That's how good I think he is. And I think, whoever's across from York has to be great because, remember what we're losing at the linebacker room. A dude who could be early day 2 pick in the NFL draft. So Alex Howard is my number one guy. My number 2 guy is Jabre Barber, the receiver from Troy. I get more and more sold on Jabre Barber the more I sit and kind of talk myself into this. We're talking about a receiver who had 75 receptions, 999 yards, and 5 touchdowns last year for Troy. That'll play for a really good Troy football team. So, this is a dude who's played high-level football. Ranked as an 89 in the transfer portal. Jabre Barber is a football player who I think could could get some relevant snaps this year. And I think he will. I mean, we know who our top end guys are at receiver. We know you got Moose, you got Noah Thomas, you got Jabre, Janae Walker. And then I think you stretch that out. You go, okay, you got Tees. Now I think you got Jabre Barber. And I think that he's going to play some serious snaps. And remember, I do think we've talked about the receiver room is a little bit, I don't know if I'd say thin, but I'd say you could quickly be relying on Ashton Bethel-Roman and some of these younger guys. If a couple guys who are been a little bit injury prone through the years are banged up. So you're going to see Jabre Barber. I can tell you that right now. You're going to see Jabre Barber, and I think he's a player who could be really good. So it's a name to remember. It's a name to remember in the receiver room because I do think he could be great. The next thing a player I have is a guy who I have talked a good amount about, and that's the edge rusher, Cashius Howell from Bowling Green. 9.5 sacks don't lie. They don't lie. The film doesn't lie. I love Cashius Howell and his ability to rush the passer. He has a beautiful mix of pass rushing moves. His ability to get to the quarterback is incredible. You know, I talk about it a lot when I talk about pass rushers, when I talk about edge rushers. But a guy like Cashius Howell, you know, he is really good he has multiple moves. I love that. Some guys, edge rushers, even some of the really good edge rushers, I think at times depend too much on one pass rush move. I think a guy like Cashius Howell is really good at having multiple moves in his, multiple pass rush moves in a toolbox. And that's huge. Whether it's the push pull, it's the spin move, it's the bull rush. There's so many different, a beautiful swim move. There's so many different things you can have in your toolbox as a pass rusher. And Cashius Howell has all of them. I think he's a dude who could. Now, is he going to have 10 sacks in the SEC? Like Nick Scorton, I feel pretty confident saying I think he'll have 10 sacks next year. Do I think Cashius Howell has 10 sacks next year, 9.5 next year? I think if you could get 6 from him, here's the question. If I told y'all, said, hey, we're going to get 6 sacks from Cashius Howell, would y'all take that? Because I would take that in a heartbeat without a second thought. So let me know y'all's thoughts on that. But I do think he's a player who can come in right now and succeed. Let me pull the numbers on him. What is he size-wise? Oh, where'd he go? There he goes. 6'4", 235. I mean, once again, edge rusher, if you've got the speed, you can be anywhere in that 230 to 260 range, and I'm not going to be upset about it. So if he wants to put on 10 pounds of muscle, am I going to yell at anybody? No, I'm not, but I think that he is a size that can come in and be a dominant pass rusher right now. And then my last guy is the tight end, Tre Watson. And I don't know if we've been talking enough about Tre Watson. I mean, 6'5", 245. He had 35. Handwriting got me here. Either 35 or 38 receptions last year, 378 yards, and a few touchdowns, 4 touchdowns, it looks like. But it's funny, my handwriting is so great on this entire sheet. And then when I wrote down this stuff on Tre Watson, it's just bad. Weird. But another guy who I think can, and y'all know Donovan Green's my guy. Donovan Green is my guy. But I think that Tre Watson can come in and be a legit dude at tight end. I think you got the Purdue tight end, Miller. I keep forgetting his name. Is it Garrett Miller? Let me pull up his name. Yeah, Garrett Miller. And he is going to be a good player, and he can catch passes. But I see him more as the blocking guy, and I think I see Watson more as the receiving tight end. So of these two, but both of them can do both things. I just think if I had to pick one to be the receiving tight end, to be Watson, and if I had to pick one to be the blocking tight end, to be Miller. I do think both of these guys are solid tight ends, though, and similar size. Miller is 6'5", 250. Watson is 6'5", 245. So similar sizes between these two guys. But Green's still my guy, Donovan Green. I think I'm going to. Something would have to change for me to put Tre Watson or Miller ahead of Donovan Green. Donovan Green's my guy right now. I also like Platt, but he's still a little bit young. So right now, Green's my guy, but if I had to pick one guy to take over and kind of be that athletic tight end who's catching passes, I think it would be Trey Watson. So those are 4 2024 recruits and 4 transfer portal players that we are not talking enough about that I think you could see on the field. The portal players for sure, freshmen potentially could see them on the field this year. 17-0 has a sweet, sweet ring to it. Texas A&M takes down Sam Houston in walk-off fashion. Back-to-back games, little Olsen magic. We'll talk about that coming up right here on Locked On Aggies. But first, I want to tell you about our friends over at FanDuel. Say goodbye to busted brackets because FanDuel lets you bet on every game of the tourney. Whether you're betting on a big upset or a 1 seed, it's time to go dancing on America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. That's $200 to use on point spreads, money lines. You can even pick who's going to win it all. Just visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and bet college hoops until they cut down the nets. A lot of fun stuff to bet on right now, ladies and gentlemen. You got college basketball. You got the NCAA tournament. You got the SEC tournament coming up. You've got the MLB season right around the corner. College baseball. You think the Aggies are going to win the national championship on the baseball field? Go put some money on it over at FanDuel. NBA is still going on. A lot of fun things to bet on over at FanDuel, so go check them out. FanDuel.com/lockedon. Go give them a look. So the baseball team, it looked like this game was going to get out of hand for Texas A&M, and a couple of big innings from Sam Houston, they scratched and clawed and stayed in this ball game, end up tying it 8 runs apiece, but Texas A&M is able to win this one 9-8 in 9. So Jace Laviolette, 3 for 5. 2 bombs. It's what he does. He just hits the baseball and he hits it very, very, very far. That's what he does. He had a 470-foot home run. I believe I read that right. Let me pull that up. Because now that I'm saying that, I'm like, did that really happen? Let's look this up. He had, let's find it. I had to be 470 foot. Did I dream this? Now I can't find the video. Oh yeah, 470 feet. That was true. That with the 109 exit velocity. Goodness gracious. You want to talk about, Texas A&M fans, we're very blessed because we're watching a kid who's going to be an MLB player. Jace Laviolette, a little bit, for a while, I was a little concerned about, is he going to be a home run or strikeout guy? But I think he's really, figured that out. I think he's going to be a star. I mean, just a star. If he keeps hitting home runs like he is right now in SEC play, this kid is going to be, I'm just telling you, this kid is going to be special in the MLB. Montgomery 2 for 4 in this game. Camarillo's 3 for 5 in this game. You have 14 total hits. Thought the offense did a good job. The pitching staff, I've got a few complaints. Like the 7 base on balls. Y'all know me. I never get stoked about walks. I do not like walks. A couple home runs. Keep the baseball in the yard. I thought Cortez did a good job settling in after the homer that tied it. He could have given up that homer and then mentally let himself go, but he was able to stay in it and able to pick up a win, actually. So good for him picking up the win. But, pitching staff, the 7 walks. I mean, listen, Florida's next, and we're going to break down that series either on Thursday or Friday. Haven't decided yet. So we're going to break down that series. But my thoughts here are pretty simple. You can't walk 7 guys against Florida because they have power. They have guys that are going to hit home runs. They have guys who are going to hit for average. They have dudes who are going to, if you give them free bases, they will take advantage of them, just like Texas A&M does. Same thing. It's an SEC school, so don't give free bases. 7 free bases is way too many. I love to keep it in that 4 range. I'd love to be 0, in all honesty. But also, let's not center cut fastballs. You got to remember college baseball. I don't care if you throw 100. I don't care if you throw 95. I don't care if you throw 92. I don't care if you throw 84. If you center cut a fastball, these hitters, whether it's Sam Houston, whether it's Rhode Island, whether it's Florida, are going to take advantage and going to hit the ball a very, very long way. So you have to, hit spots. Don't just center fastballs and go, well, I throw 98. It doesn't matter. It does matter, because if these hitters are able to sit on a center fastball, they're going to drive it. So once again, I'm never going to sit here and apologize for winning a baseball game 9-8 and walking off a team. I'm not going to apologize for walking off Sam Houston. I'm not. Texas A&M is 17-0. I am never going to complain about winning a game like this. Back-to-back games, walk-off fashion. I don't care. If you are winning baseball games, that is all that matters. Go take a series against Florida on the road. That's all that matters. All that matters. Start off SEC play with the road series win over one of the best teams in college baseball, which I'm predicting is going to happen. I think Texas A&M takes 2 or 3 on the road. So we'll break down that series. But good win for Texas A&M once again. Good win. These midweek games, it's tough. You got a huge series against Florida. It's hard to act like mentally you're not looking to that. You get this win. You don't let a team sneak up on you. They tried to sneak up on you, and you don't let them leave with the win. Love that. Bats were swung well, a couple bombs, 470-foot homer from Laviolette. Montgomery stays hot. Camarillo, a couple hits. Love the way this offense flowed. Love the way the pitching staff was able to. I don't love the base on balls, but love how they were able to get out of it sometimes, not get out of it others. But get the win. Get ready for the Florida Gators. We will break down that series either on Thursday or Friday, but that's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Aggies. Thank y'all so much for being here every single day. I really do appreciate it. If you haven't already, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It helps the show a ton. Leave a 5-star review on podcast platforms. That also helps. Really appreciate y'all. Have a great rest of your day today, and we will see you tomorrow.